Starfall. Starfall are what is called old metal.
All right, we're here to talk about this very cool, one-of-a-kind Starfall. I believe he's calling this Starfall Original #1. So, without further ado, let's hop down to the table. Let's talk about what went on with the electronics, the install, show off all the cool blinkies, show off the cool crystal chamber, all the features that Nick put into it, and then we'll hop back out. We'll show a few blade styles, but this is going to be for a repeat customer, and a lot of these functions are the same for a lot of his sabers. So hopefully I'll be able to wrap it up pretty quick. So for all of you out there, thanks for checking it out. And without further ado, let's get up close. So this is a static chassis setup, but with a crystal reveal grip, kind of a High Republic concept. And if you look up close, you can see like a bunch of little accent etching that Nick spray painted over, or I think, what does he call it? Baked on enamel. So this is running a Proffie V3. We've got a Shadowfoil neopixel emitter, subbladed to do independent animations. I did actually supply, I had a knurled brass thumb screw, so I aged it to sort of match the brass here. David, I will provide the set screw that Nick gave with it in case you want to use it. But I thought it matched it just fine. You will need an Allen key to get to the grip access. I've loosened it up for right now, but this bottom one on the brass ring is your grip release. So you won't want to mess with that one. That's for the crystal chamber. But we've got a Cosmic Inter Galactic main switch with a neopixel accent, and then a copper Phil Guinness or Kalymian Custom Sabers aux switch here in this little brass accent. And then we just pull the grip off to get access to the chassis. Now, this is one that, David, you wanted to kind of go all out. And so I had this chassis that has a bunch of accents. And because we were limited in space, I just painted it to match the aesthetics. I kind of designed this with your future projects in mind, because we have a neopixel accent strip here, subbladed for each of these greeblies. So this baffled greeblie with some heat stain pigments has its own style. This port greeblie has its own style. We've got two short Edison filaments that do different things in the on and off state. And then we've got another accent strip that's subdivided into three under each of these: baffled grate, and then vent grate. And then this particular crystal chamber has a dual crystal. So we've got a cracked marble up top and a real quartz point down below. So each of those can do their own thing, which you can sort of see right now what's going on. So basically, we just blinged this thing out. Tons of blinkies all over. And so if we want to see, we do have the Starfall font package. There's a couple extra fonts, David, for you to cover some extra styles, but we have, all of the Canon colors that you normally request with the tracks that you normally request. So to get to track player mode in the off state, we'll hold the power button with the Saber perpendicular or horizontal. You'll get a little chime. So now you're in track player mode. So we'll rotate the Saber to the right to go forward, to the left to go back, and then aux or power will keep that particular track playing. There's a number of ways that plays, but now we can swing the saber around without it changing fonts. And then again, if we want to do the designated track, we'll point the saber up and do the same thing. Hold for a second. So yeah, got all the particular tracks that you want available on any preset, but also pre-programmed in. So each of these crystal chambers has the Shadowfoil accent pixel PCB with 7 1515 neopixel accents. So you can sort of see in that cracked marble, I've got like a rotary animation happening in the off state, and it's making those cracks kind of animate a little differently. Go to a different. These are just doing breaths.
Reconcile.
These are doing blinks. But yeah, they pretty much will match the main blade, but there's a slight color variation on each of them.
Reconcile.
Battery level.
On the very last preset, we have the battery level indicator, and so just the crystal chamber will go from green to red. I went ahead and turned everything off because that'll be visible with the grip on, and then you'll have the blade that has it on. But for any preset, you can always do hold aux and tap power to get a real-time percentage.
Battery level 93%.
So I put the C3PO voice pack on this particular one because there was a lot of copper and brass, and I just thought he'd be a good representation of that theme.
Starfall.
But we do have
Battery level.
the Serenity font that you provided for Carlos when that comes down the pike. So I went ahead and installed it on some of these sabers I'm sending to you. But you can see because the Serenity blade style has a force effect that goes from green to orange, I made the crystal chamber have that as well. So the top crystal will always mimic what the blade does. So I just started it up muted here. And so when we do a force effect, it'll change the blade color. And so now those colors swapped. So again, the top crystal will always match what the main blade's going to be. Turn it back on so you can hear it. So obviously also did green and orange for the activation switch. So there's a force effect sound, and you can see again those crystal colors swapped. So yeah, and all of the accent pixels pretty much will react to blaster blocks or clashes, etc. So that's the saber. When we're ready, we can hit the kill switch, put the grip back on. Again, you want to line up those set screws and then cinch it down. Nick did not provide a Allen key because I think you have plenty of them. So if you get this while you're on your trip here and you don't have one, make sure to pick up a multi-tool. So we'll show off this with a blade in. This does take a 7/8 emitter. I'm sorry, a blade. Like a lot of these higher end ones, but again, I'll show that. And it's set up for your 36-inch blade that we always do. So let's put a blade in and we'll show the rest of it off. I'm not going to go through everything because I do have a printout for you with all of the button commands in case you forgot. I provide these every now and then with your installs, but they're going to be the same. It's running the FET263 prop file with OS 7.14. So everything's pretty much going to be the same. I'm not going to go through everything that I normally do so that I can hopefully shorten these down because I'm doing about 4 or 5 of them before your trip. So hopefully I'm not editing to death. All right, so we talked about the chassis, all the really cool blinkies, the config and all that stuff. But with it back wrapped up. Wanted to show off a few blade styles just to demonstrate how to operate it, basically to show that it operates. That being said, this takes a 7/8 diameter neopixel blade. I've programmed it for 36 inches. However, this is a 32-inch KR pixel sticks, but it should suffice. We do have a little bit of preview of the crystal chamber. We also have a CIG accent main, whatever you want to call it. And then we have aux here with the copper. So up top, I showed you regular mode, which is hold a button to engage lockups and all that. And lockups were like the tip effects as well. But we can get into battle mode with a thrust on. I did on this particular one because we do have 2 buttons and it's pretty easy for the twist on to just be also regular mode. So if we do that, you just get clashes, glancing blows, but if we want to engage a lockup, then we'll hold a button. But if we wanted to demonstrate battle mode, we'll do the force or thrust. So now we're in battle mode, which means a clash will engage a lockup. Until you pull out of that position. Now, for this particular preset, the force effect, you hold power for a second, you'll actually change the blade color to a different style. And I mentioned down below, but the crystal will also match, the top crystal. This is a dual crystal design. So the bottom crystal will be the opposite color that you see on the main blade. So right now it's orange, but the blade is green, and then vice versa. The blade is now orange, and then the lower crystal is green. But that being said, so again, that's battle mode and regular mode. So regular mode is pretty much the standard. If we wanted to get to a different preset, we'll hold aux.
Battery level.
This is the last preset, so we're going to have a battery level indicator. Like I said, I programmed for a 36-inch, but this is 32, so it's at the tip, but we're probably in the 80% range. To get a percentage, hold aux tap power.
Battery level 89%.
And then we've got C3PO for this voice pack.
Battery level 89%.
If we want to get into the volume menu, we'll do the inverse. We'll hold power tap aux.
Enter volume menu.
Rotating to the right goes up. Rotating to the left goes down in, I think, 10% increments.
Maximum volume.
And then we'll just leave it at maximum volume.
Exit volume menu.
But he'll go through edit mode if you want to use edit mode for any of the features. So that being said, there's a printout that will explain edit mode in its entirety. I won't demonstrate that here. But if we go to the Starfall font collection, so we've got 8 fonts just like before, all of the canon colors. I've also provided a couple additional fonts for extra colors for like shows and video games. And then some of those are Proffie fonts. Some of those are fonts I've given to this customer in the past. So up top, we showed Starfall, which is red, is kind of a Vader blade. Celestial will be kind of an old school like Ben. This will be like a mace color. It's hard to tell, but it's a light purplish.
Hero's Journey.
This one's Luke, it's green. I really like the way this feels with the 7/8 blade. Very well balanced. And it's easy to get to either of the buttons with one hand if you wanted to as well. We got our Kylo Ren unstable.
Reconcile.
A yellow blade. Got an old school, like blue, like actual blue. The spark tip. We got a little force effect. So I have designed all of these. If there's a force effect, it will only do the animation, which is usually unstable for as long as the sound is playing. If it's an unstable blade by default, then it'll be like a different color and it'll flash. But like I said, so this is our speeder bike. This one has color change direct, which is hold aux tap power. And you see it wipes to purple. I've also got that in the crystal as well. And it goes, one crystal is purple, one is white, and then they'll flip-flop depending on which one we're looking at. You can't tell, but you'll see when you get it. What I did do is have like in the off state, do like a speeder bike. It's like a green and a red, but then when it's on, it's green on the pixel switch. Green for go. All right, so that's gonna pretty much cover it. Plenty of things to work with. Again, I'll have a printout for this, but it's pretty much the standard 2-button Saber setup. So all the same functions, anything I didn't cover will be on there, or you can look at a past video, David, for that. But I hope you like this. I did do quite a bit to try to make this a little bit fancy. I enjoyed doing it, and I hope you enjoy owning it. Thanks.